Welcome to Cuelist Tutorials. In this tutorial, we're going to be talking about notes. In our previous tutorial, we talked about how to add and edit your cues. But in addition to cues, there's another way to put annotations onto your PDF project, and that is through the use of notes. Now, just as a reminder, notes are going to sit inside whatever layer you've chosen, although it is a subsection of your layer. So you can choose a different layer for your notes and keep the layer for your cues the same, and you can change that by setting your active note layer to be different than your active cue layer. You also can set your visibility to be such that you can see just the cues, just the notes, both or none of every layer. So you have the ability to really customize what you're looking at. Now, we have a lot of options for notes, and our note tools are all here on the right-hand side of our toolbar. And you can see, as I mouse over them, the variety of different notes. So the icons from left to right are the text tool, the drawing tool. Nestled beneath the drawing tool is the line tool, the highlight tool, the stamp tool, the image tool. These are all available to you by clicking on the toolbar or by using the shortcut keyboard command, which you can see here in the tooltip. So for text, it's T, for drawing, it's D, for line, it's L, highlight is H, stamp is S, and image is I. You can also see a couple of these toolbars, and specifically, we already looked at this, but in the drawing tool, there's a little arrow here showing you that there's a couple tools nested, and that's the drawing and the line tool. And with the stamp tool, we have a number of different stamps that are nested beneath those tools. Now, as a quick reminder, if we go into our layers menu and we look at a layer and we edit the note properties, we have the default properties of our notes. And those defaults are the font family and the font size. We have the text and stamp background. We have the line thickness that'll apply to our drawings. We have the default stamp size. Obviously, that applies to the stamps. And we have our color options. You can see here we have three color options. The first is the primary color, and that's going to be the color of our text, the color of our lines that we draw, and that can be set different than the secondary color. The secondary color refers to the outline of our stamps. Finally, we have the highlight color, and that refers just to our highlights. Now, you can choose any color you want using the slider or the primary colors, but you can also set it to match your layer color, and that will just key it directly to whatever the color is for the layer you've chosen. Now, these are the default properties for your notes. You don't have to have every note look like that. You can change notes individually one by one. So let's look a little bit at how these tools work. We're going to go up and click on our notes tool, our text tool. We can also press the T button if we want to activate that tool. Once we have that activated, we just need to double click anywhere on the text and add a note. It's going to automatically focus into our notes section, and we can tell this note, we can say actors cross downstage. Once we hit return, it'll give us another line. So to get out of the notes, we just need to click outside the note. Now that note is complete. If we want to edit that note, we can go back in, make changes here. We can also increase the size of the note box. And over here on the left, you're going to find three little icons. The first allows us to move this note anywhere we want. The second icon is going to allow us to modify the note. And the third is going to allow us to delete the note. So if we create this note and we want to look at how to modify it, we can click here on the modify option. We're going to see a pop-up window. There are a number of things we can modify. The first thing to remember is we are modifying only this note. The default settings for all notes will stay the same if we make a change here. We can change the layer of the note. We can move the note to another page. We can also change the background fill. We can change the size, and we can change the color of the note. Now, I want to point out just a quick thing on the background fill. So we're going to switch this background fill to solid, and we're going to click done here, and we now have a solid background. So if we have a solid background and we bring this over a piece of text, it's now going to cover that text. So this is useful if you want to make small edits to a section of the script and you don't want to import a new page. You can simply make a change to the script, click the background color, and it will cover over your text. If we go back in and we change this to no fill, then you're going to see the size of the box is no longer going to matter. That note will only be visible where there's text, and you won't have any background. Okay, let's look at our other tools. Let's look at our drawing tool. Our drawing tool really allows you just to click and drag to make a shape or a line. If we click and drag and then release, that line will finalize. If we want to make multiple lines in our shape, we need to act fast before the line finalizes. So if I want to do this and then create an arrow, now it's going to finalize as one piece. If we wait a little bit too long and we make this and then we make the second arrow, now these are two separate pieces of two separate objects, and we would have to treat them separately. Once again, like all of our tools, we can click here into the modify, and we can change the layer, we can change the color, and we can change the line thickness on any of our drawing. The next tool is nested in here. It's the line tool, and really we're just going to double click. It's going to drop a line. We can click on that line, move it around. We can make a change to the line thickness of that line, and we can also extend the line to go the length of our PDF. Next, we have the highlight tool. The highlight tool works just like adding a cue box works. We just click and drag over any part of our text, and it will form the highlight. Just like the other ones, we can resize it, we can change the color, and we can also change the opacity of the highlight. Next are our stamp tools. Our stamp tools, we have a bunch of different options for the shape of the stamps. We can use this, and just like our text tool, we can double click. It's going to drop a stamp and focus inside that stamp. And the stamp only allows for 3 characters, so we can set a number inside there. Just like our other ones, we can change the shape of the stamp, we can change the background, we can change the font size, we can change the stamp size overall, and we can change the layer. So the stamp size can also be adjusted here, and we can set this to be this individual stamp size. Remember that you can change the size of the default stamp. Next, and finally, we have the image tool, and the image tool allows us to drop an image onto our script. If we double click, we're going to get an image. It's going to bring up a pop-up that will allow us to choose our image file. We can click the button, and it's going to drop that image onto the script. We can resize it and place it wherever we want. Now, once we have the image file, the nice thing about the image file is it's going to sit at the bottom of all of our tools. So if we want to go back in and say draw on this, and we want to make a line that goes over the top of the text, we can. So we have the ability to make a line or something, put it on top of our image, and we can also do, like, say we wanted to have a text on top. We have that ability, and it's easy enough to do. So we can use this as a background if we're looking at blocking, we're trying to put in some quick sketches, whatever we like. Again, you can modify it by changing the layer and moving it to a different page. Now, one of the features that's really nice about our notes is that if we select a note and we use the keyboard shortcuts for copy, which is on a Mac, Command C, and then we hit the Command V button for paste. We can drop that exact note over. That works for any of our notes, so we can do that for drawings, and we can repeat a drawing easily. We can also do that for text and stamps as well as image files. So there's a lot of quick ways to get notes onto the page. Note tools can be very handy for documenting blocking, for just adding notes to remind yourself of something, and they're very easy to hide later by moving them into a layer that we turn off. So I highly recommend exploring the Notes tool in addition to your cues. That's it for notes. Thanks for watching.